Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm taking part in the Inspire Create Design Team Challenge, which is black, white and your choice of colour. So I thought, well, do you know what? I really like black, white and pink. So I've used the retiring Art in Bloom stamp set and die and embossing folder to create this fun fold, because my Sunday is a fun fold. So it's quite bulky, but it will still go in a standard envelope, but when it opens up, there you have a fun pop down. So I've called it an extended pop down. So it's like my corner daisy pop down that I did some years ago, which has sort of appeared all over the place. And I just thought it was a bit of fun with that bit of pop of colour on the front there. And I've just offset those die cuts slightly as well, so you get the pink coming through. And then I've used the stamps on the inside to kind of create my own DSP with a kind of flow of flowers and some leaves here for you to write your sentiment. Don't forget, you'll need to write in it before you actually fold it all up, but that's what I'm going to make. So let's get started. So as I said, Art in Bloom, lovely stamp set, and it comes with the hybrid embossing folder. So that's the one where the die fits inside and means that you actually die cut at the same time as embossing, so it gives you lovely die cut embossed pieces. Really good fun. Lovely stamp set that you can colour in if you want to as well with those images, so you can stamp them and then these images will colour in the flowers as well. The same with the leaves, but I've very much kept it with the black and white theme. So quite a bit of cardstock that you need. Let's start off with our die cutting. So here's my image, and I'm literally going to take that and pop it inside my folder. So you'll see here, you'll feel where the image will sit. We're going to pop that over, and I'm just going to fold that up and have a look at where that sits and just adjust very slightly if I need to, keeping it fairly central left and right, helping to use my line, because I don't want that, if possible, to come quite to the edge. It comes really close. So once you've done that, pop it through. It's a 3D folder, so it's going to need to have that 3D folder sandwich, which is that thicker one. And there we go. And when you open that up, as you can see, it has cut through. We've got the frame, and then we've got these lovely 3 images which are beautifully embossed and die cut, ready to go. So we'll pop that to one side. Now we're going to layer that up onto some DSP. So the DSP for this piece, I should have said, is 9.9 by 9.9, and the I've decided to use, on the first one I should have said, I used Polish Pink on this one. I love Polish Pink. This one's Magenta Madness, not quite so much of a favourite of mine, but as a retiring colour we need to use these colours up, and it does give a fabulous pop of colour, that's certainly true. So pop this on here, just in the set, just to centre that there. And then with my images, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sponge dauber. You could try a blending brush as well if you wanted to, but I didn't. Oh, that's Polished Pink. Don't want Polished Pink, want Magenta Madness. So let's grab my Magenta Madness. And what I'm doing is inking that up and then just blending that out. There. So starting with sort of the darker colour in the middle, then going round a second time where obviously there's less ink on the dauber, and that just comes out with a lighter shade. Just do the ends of those flower petals as well. closed for the moment, and then just add those back into those sort of over those apertures with a couple of dimensionals on each. I'd probably put 3 on this larger one. Keep it well supported. But obviously the embossing has already given that lots of dimension, and all you do by adding the ink is just enhancing that embossing as well. So if we think about where the way the image is going to go on the front, I'm just going to pop that off to sort of down and to the side very slightly. So again, just popping that back in, and that just gives it a little sort of drop shadow. Sort of thing you do with die cuts, if you're doing layers sometimes, just can add a little bit more interest as well. So there's our first layer. Now we want to do some stamping. So I've got some of the Magenta Madness here. So this is 10.2 by 3.7, and this is 9.9 by 3.4. I'm just going to rub the edge down. I've just caught that slightly. So I'm going to do some stamping on there. This is a photopolymer stamp set, so out comes my Stampin' Pierce mat along with a scrap bit of paper as well. And then we're going to do some stamping on the inside. So while I've got my large stamp out, the inside, this is a piece that's 9 by 9. And I'm just inking up this really big triple floral image. So this is the one that you can obviously stamp and die cut. And then I'm just going to sort of layer that over, as you can see there. And repeat that again. So this is going to be the inner pop down here. So I'm just going to pop that. If you imagine that I'm going to cut this in half diagonally, I just want to make sure that I've got lots of, you want to have those images coming off the side slightly, just to get a bit of interest. And I'm using the ink pad to stamp because it is a large stamp. Just ink up that corner and pop that in there as well. So that's my one inner piece. I'm going to cut in half diagonally. I'm also going to, I want 2 that are 9.5 by 9.5. So this is that left hand image as you open your card. So I'm just going to again stamp that and ink it up again. Just make sure you ink it up well all over. There we go. And you could always come in with one of the infill stamps as well if you wanted to add some colour into that as well. And then my final piece, I'm going to do my leaves. So again, memento. I just thought it was rather nice to have some sort of leaves just on each side of this coming up. So, as I say, just you can then add a little pop of pink to that base one if you wanted to. So this is our smaller one. So what I did was I just used this little floral sort of trio just to add a little colour in here. Like so. So it just gives it a little bit of a pop of colour. In fact, I might actually pop that on that front there as well, actually. And that's why I always put a bit of scrap paper on top of my Stampin' Pierce mat. Because what you don't want to do, I mean, I've gone over slightly there, and I have washed my Stampin' Pierce mat before now, but it just helps keep it that much cleaner when you're doing any other stamping. So this smaller piece here, we're now going to cut in half diagonally. So just make sure those points line up in the track. You see here? And again, we're cutting on the diagonal, so that means I'm going to start cutting in the middle and go out so I don't squash those points. So there we have our pieces for the inside and our pieces for the front, which means we can now do our card base, and it's a really simple one with just one extra score line. So I'm taking my card down to 29 centimetres, trimming that off, and I'm scoring 14.5 as usual, but then I'm doing a second score line at 18.5. And then that simply makes an extra, like it's just like a book fold one. So I'm going to give those a really good burnish, and this one a good burnish back on itself as well. So, and then what you'll need for the inner is a piece of card that is 20 by 20 centimetres, and you're going to score that at 10 centimetres in each direction. So, and then this bottom corner here, this bottom quadrant, we're going to line that up. Actually, I could do the top one, it's just the same. So if you line both of your points up in the track, and then make sure you keep your cutting blade well out of the way and just score diagonally. Like so. So we've got a score line coming across here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of cutting as well. So if you come back into what you want to do is with the diagonally scored portion in the top right hand corner, you're just going to cut up to the middle line. And then with our corner panel to the right, line it up at about 9 centimetres, and then you're going to cut up to that line as well. So you're going to take out that quadrant like so. And then all of these need to be really well scored and burnished really well. And then this diagonal in particular, just make sure that that's lining up well there and really burnish it well. And what you then want to do is make sure you trim away well on the corners on this one in particular, because that's where the sort of mechanism is, so to speak. So you've got a piece like this. Now we can add our layers while it is still flat. So this is going to be our back panel. So this is writing our sentiment on. So just make sure that you either keep this panel separate until you're ready to send, so you can write it and then stick it on afterwards, or write on it now. Add my corner panel, and you'll see by having that 9 centimetres you get a nice border with, give that pop of colour. Add our panel to the left. So bearing in mind that this is going to be this way, obviously this is the way I've stamped them. There isn't sort of a right or wrong way, but you just need to make sure that if you're using a directional stamp, you orient it correctly. We can add our sort of homemade DSP layer to my Magenta Madness with that pop of pink. And then we can add our layer onto our layers onto the front of the card. So now to get the book fold, this is where I'd recommend that you really do come in with our Seal Plus, because you want something with a really strong hold. And I'm going to pop 2 layers or 2 stripes of that, one next to the score line on the middle and one on the outside edge, and you're going to burnish that down really well on the back. Okay, so there's our standard book fold. Obviously you could keep your card like that, but what I want to do is now create my inner. So I'm going to fold this back up and, as I said, really reinforce those score lines. And what you're going to do is glue this to the back here. So to help with that, I'm going to fold it and then fold that up back on itself. And that's where you want your Seal Plus to go, right on the edge there. And so when you open up, that join is concealed. And then all we're going to do is pop some Seal Plus on the back. I'm going to pop that in just a fraction away from the seam, because you want a little bit of movement because it's quite thick. And then really good I caught the edge just there, that's why that's picked up. And just what I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue just on the edge after it's just taken that top layer off. One of the things with Seal Plus is try and start it not right at the edge, and then fold that down and just give it a good press. And then there we have my extended corner pop down card. There's a lovely frame effect, and it's Magenta Madness or polished pink. Do you have a preference? I think either are great fun. I'm probably more of a polished pink girl, but I do like the addition of a little bit of pink on there. I think that just brings it to life. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. And if you'd like to purchase any of these items you've seen, do use the links below, or pop to my blog and use the host code as well, so I can send you a little something in the mail to say thank you. Thank you for watching, and please hit the subscribe button. Bye now.